Hi there, my brainwatch those. This is Josh with the Heretic coming at you today. I have this woman on YouTube that her name is dollfayce91, and she asked me a two-tiered question concerning basically women's authority. But it's not really specifically women's authority. It's like, because of women's authority, how do they deal with specific situations? So I thought, these are pretty good questions. Let me answer them. So, the first one is dealing with abuse. If you are a woman, a godly woman, in an abusive relationship with an ungodly man, what can you do? And now it says that if an unbelieving husband or an unbelieving wife is happy to dwell with an unbelieving husband, she should stay with him. But if the unbelieving depart, she is not under bondage in such situations. So basically, as long as a husband is providing food, shelter, duty of marriage, then the woman is still basically married. And if he's only providing one of these things, she's still basically married to this guy. But if he out and out leaves her, she is no longer under bondage. Okay, so bear that in mind. But she always should have the mentality of submitting to her husband, which is an authority over her. Now, if the man is abusive, this makes the situation a little bit more complicated. And one of the things I like to use is I like to use the example of David. Now, David was submissive to Saul because Saul was ordained to be king. And he basically did whatever Saul told him to do. He's like, go kill these people, he did it. He's like, go kill all these people, he did that. Well, go kill these people. And he kept trying to put him in situations where he caused injury to harm to himself and stuff like that. But God was with him, and God provided all the ways for him to escape, and he finally did. Finally, Saul got so mad, he's like, forget this, enough of this sneaky stuff, I'm just going to straight out try and kill him. And then at that point, David was told to leave Saul, and then God protected him from Saul. So, in a similar situation, women, if you're in an abusive relationship with a man, you should stay submissive to that man. If he seeks after your life, or he's trying to hurt you or your offspring, leave. When God tells you to go back, go back. When God tells you to leave, leave again. Don't put yourself in harm's way, but you still should remain submissive to your husband. If at any time he stops providing food, shelter, and duty of marriage, then you're set free. If he wants to have you back, that's the thing. If he still wants you in his life, you are supposed to submit to his will. But as long as his will does not contradict God's will, because God does not want to see you hurt, injured, or anything like that. So you have to put God's will above your husband's will, but still put your husband's will above yours. It's a complicated situation, but as long as you seek to do that, you'll be safe. When there's a man in authority over you, and he's abusive, do what David did. Leave. When God says it's all clear, go back. When God says to leave, leave. When God says to go back. And eventually, if the guy doesn't fix his ways, God will remove him from authority over you, and then you will be free to marry whoever you want. The other question is in reference to women working. And now she was concerned that, according to the Bible, women were not allowed to work. Now, this is untrue, because it talks about in the Virtuous Woman, like 3 or 4 different times, it talks about women working diligently with their hands. Yeah, so women are supposed to work. The thing is that what it boils back to is women has to submit to her husband's authority. Now, if a husband says, I don't want you working, then she's supposed to submit to his authority. And she basically has to work on the household and take care of the family and the house and make sure everything's clean and washed and, the husband's fed and the children are fed and blah, blah, blah. And that's good. That's groovy. Now, if the husband says, hey, we don't have enough money, go get a job, then she should go get a job. If the husband's not working at all and he says, go get a job and take care of me, that sucks. And he's off Scripture, but that's not for her to judge him on Scripture. She is supposed to submit to his will, so she needs to do that. He is shirking his responsibilities. He's not providing food or shelter, or food or raiment, but as long as he's still providing duty of marriage, he's still basically technically her husband, but he's still being kind of a deadbeat. But beyond that, she should still submit to his authority. As women, you have to submit to the authority, which is your husband, as long as that authority does not contradict the authority of God. God's will comes first. And if God's will says, I want you to be safe, I want you to be protected, then you follow God's will, not your husband's will. And if God's will says, I don't want you to murder people, but your husband says, go kill this guy, don't kill the guy. Follow God's will. If your husband says to lie, God said don't bear false witness, so don't lie. If your husband says to steal, and God says thou shalt not steal, don't steal. I mean, but if your husband says, let's have some, I want to have sex, let's go have some sex, well, duty, you're supposed to render due benevolence one to another, so then you have sex with your husband. If he says, go do the dishes, you should probably go do the dishes. He says, do the laundry, go do the laundry. He says, clean up the house, clean up the house. I mean, there's nothing in Scripture that says you should not do these things. So, it's a balancing act. You have to realize, you have to know the Word first, hold yourself accountable to the Word first, and then whatever your husband asks you to do that fits with that Word, do it. Beyond that, this is the Heretic. I hope this blesses you. dollfayce91. I'll talk to you later. This is the Heretic signing out. Peace.